The youth wing of the Kenya Africa Union National Union has publicly rejected a political agreement between the party leader chairperson Gideon Moi and President William Ruto, claiming the partnership goes against everything the party stands for and was made without consulting them. The Kanu National Youth Congress held a press conference on Tuesday at the party headquarters in Nairobi to express their strong opposition to what they describe as betrayal of the party's value. The youth leader made it clear that they want nothing to do with any alliances between their party and the current government. Shanice Matara, who served as the national chair of the Youth Congress, led the delegation that spoke to journalists. She explained that the young members of KANU were never consulted before or after the meeting between Gideon Moi and President Ruto that took place the previous week.
So ideally, we as the Kanu Youth Congress are reiterating the fact that we are not part and fully dissociate ourselves from the alleged partnership or coalition between our party chairperson, Honorable Gideon Moi, and the President, His Excellency William Samoei Ruto. In this case, we strongly affirm our beliefs in the rule of law, protection of human rights, and promotion of social justice. We believe that the youth deserve a place to be heard and listened to, and our agenda shall not trickle down because of the individuals of one particular person. So ideally today, we stand together in solidarity to state that we are not part of the agreement that has been tabled between our chairperson and the president. We want to believe that this decision was made with the topmost officials of the party, and the youth officials and the youth at large were not consulted, or rather were sidelined when this decision was being made. So in that regard, our voices must be heard, and that's why today we are here to state that whatever decision was made without our input does not is not viable at the moment. Not shaken.
The controversial meeting between the two political leaders and the significant consequences of the upcoming Baringo senatorial by-election. Following their Tuesday or Thursday discussion, Gideon Moi made a surprising decision to withdraw from the race entirely, leaving the seat open for other candidates to contest. Gideon Moi had been expected to be a strong contender for the Baringo Senate seat. His decision to step aside after meeting with President Ruto raised many questions about what was discussed during the private meeting and what agreement might have been reached between the two leaders. After the meeting, Kano Secretary General George Wainaina and made an official announcement that shocked many party members and supporters. He stated that Kano would not field any candidate in the Baringo senatorial by-election, effectively cleaning the path for UDA party candidates. The UDA party for the Baringo Senate is Kiprono Chemitei, with Kanu out of the race. Chemitei faces competition from only 5 other candidates rather than having to contend with a formidable challenger that Gideon Moi would have presented. The young or the youth Congress viewed this entire sequence of events as deeply troubling. They say that withdrawal of the party from the race and apparent cooperation with the UDA government as a fundamental departure from what Kanu has historically represented in Kenya's politics. The Young Party members issued a strong statement completely distancing themselves from any agreement or pact between Moi and Ruto. They emphasized that such a partnership contradicts the core principle that Kanu has always stood for a political organization. The youth leaders outlined what they believe are fundamental values of Kanu. They said the party has always been committed to promoting accountability in in government, ensuring transparency in how leaders conduct public business, and defending the rule of law as the foundation of good governance. They also stress that Kanu has historically stood for the protection and promotion of human rights. The Youth Congress made it clear that these values are not negotiable and cannot be compromised for political convenience or short-term gains.
One particular person. So ideally today we stand together in solidarity to state that we are not part of the agreement that has been tabled between our chairperson and the president. We want to believe that this decision was made with the topmost officials of the party, and the youth officials and the youth at large were not consulted, or rather were sidelined when this decision was being made. So in that regard, our voices must be heard, and that's why today we are here to state that whatever decision was made without our input is not viable at the moment.
The statement from the Youth Congress contains strong criticism of the current government records on this issue. They accuse the Ruto administration of consistently violating the very principle that can hold dear, making any partnership between the two politically and morally incompatible. The young Kano members specifically pointed to what they describe as a pattern of serious human rights abuse by the government. They mentioned the abduction of citizens, which have been reportedly with increased frequency in the recent months, as a major concern that cannot be ignored.
So we will continue vouching for what we believe in, and we believe in the protection of the rule of law, protection of human rights, and in Kenya. So as a youth caucus of the Kanu Youth Congress, we are going to stand firm with our belief that we are the voices of change. So regardless of the direction that our party chairman takes, we will stand by what we believe in.
They also raise issue of enforced disappearance, where individuals are taken by security officers or other actors and their whereabouts remain unknown to their families and lawyers. This practice, they argued, has no place in democratic society governed by the rule of law. The Euro Congress accused the government of widespread human rights violation beyond just abduction and disappearance. They painted a picture of administration that does not respect basic constitutional rights and freedom that Kenyans are entitled under the 2010 Constitution. Corruption was another major issue highlighted in their statement. The young party members say that corruption remains rampant in government despite the promises to fight it, and that this directly contradicts Kanu's commitment to clean and accountable governance. They describe what they see as a total disregard for the rule of law by the current administration. According to the Youth Congress, the government action and policies often bypass or violate legal procedure and constitutional requirement, undermining the integrity of Kenya's legal system. The youth leaders made a firm declaration that no partnership or coalition agreement of any kind could justify supporting a government that acts against constitutional governance. They drew a clear line stating that political expedience cannot override fundamental democratic principles. They rejected the notion that Kano should join what the government has been calling a broad-based government. The President Ruto has made effort to bring various political parties and leaders into his administration in what he described as an inclusive approach to governance. The US Congress dismissed this concept of a broad-based government as nothing more than empty rhetoric. They used the strong language to describe it, calling it a fallacy and comparing it to the disparate movement over dying oars, suggesting the government is in trouble and trying to save itself. The statement reflected deep skepticism about the motivation behind the government push for political consolidation. The young Kanu members appeared to view it as an attempt to silence opposition and criticism rather than a genuine effort to at inclusive governance. The Youth Congress position put them in a direct conflict with their own party chairman, Gideon Moi, as the Kanu or as the leader of Kanu and has the authority to make a strategic decision about alliances and political direction. But the youth wing is openly challenging his judgment. Gideon Moi is the son of the president Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, who led Kanu and Kenya for 24 years. The party has a long and complex history in Kenyan politics, having been the ruling party from independence in 1963 until 2002, where it lost power. Since losing power, Kanu has struggled to regain its former dominance in Kenyan politics. The party has tried various strategies, including forming alliances with other parties and running independently, but has not been able to return to its previous position of strength. Gideon Moi has been trying to review Kano and make it relevant against the modern Kenyan politics. His decision to meet with President Ruto and withdraw from Baringo Pai race could be seen as part of a strategic to position the party for future political opportunities. However, the youth wing clearly does not agree with this strategy. They believe that aligning with the current government compromises Kanu's identity and integrity as a political party with distinct values and principles. The rebellion by the Youth Congress represents a significant internal challenges of Kanu leadership, for it shows that it is not unity within the party about the direction it should take and the alliance it should form.